Welcome to Innovation in the Burg, the podcast where science, innovation, and community come together right here in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you're curious about the amazing people and projects shaping our city's future, you're in the right place. I'm Alison Barlow, CEO of the St. Petersburg Innovation District, and I'm joined today by Becca Brown. Becca is a founder, advisor, and strategist whose career has centered on transforming big ideas into high-growth ventures. Her path spans Wall Street, the national stage of Shark Tank, and years of guiding startups and next-gen entrepreneurs. Based in St. Petersburg, Becca serves as the CEO of Spark Labs by ARK Invest, the innovation and incubation arm housed within the ARK Innovation Center. She leads one of the region's most dynamic hubs for emerging technology, early-stage founders, and future-focused industries. Welcome, Becca.
Thank you, Alison. It's great to be here.
It's awesome to have you. You've stepped into the CEO role just earlier this year, and I have to say the transformation has been amazing. And actually, we have a great little quote here. Tampa Bay Business Journal noted, new CEO Becca Brown has grown the Cathie Wood-backed Innovation Center's occupancy to 25 startups through word of mouth alone. How's that feel?
Oh, it feels so great. Thank you for acknowledging that. It's such an exciting time. As you mentioned, it's been about 6 months that I've been at the helm here at Spark Labs, and it feels like we're just getting started. I'm so thrilled that we've gotten to this point. We launched a rebrand a couple weeks ago, which really does indicate that this is a new chapter, but we really are just at the beginning, and I'm so thrilled to be here.
So tell a little bit about your vision of what you see Spark Lab being and part of the bigger ecosystem.
Yeah, so what we've created is really an incubator for early stage technology companies. So we have this beautiful building that has been realized by a public-private partnership between the City of St. Petersburg, Pinellas County, many corporate partners, of course, ARK Invest, and the St. Pete Innovation District. So with a world-class facility, we have the opportunity to actually bring people together in a physical hub.
Yeah.
And that's really a competitive advantage because when founders are at the early stages, a community is what can really keep them going. So we are offering 3 things to these founders: capital, customers, and community. So the capital and the customers pieces are things that any early stage company needs, especially when they're at the beginning innings of bringing their technology to market. And we're enabling them, connecting with them with capital partners and investors in our ecosystem, allowing for business development and customer opportunities. But the community is really what is the glue that keeps them together, and that's what we're doing here at Spark Labs. And generally, the companies are aligned with the ARK Invest disruptive innovation themes, which are artificial intelligence, robotics, energy storage, and all the autonomous vehicle work that's being done, blockchain technology, and multi-omic sequencing.
Yeah.
So it is just such a great time to be here, and the community, I think, is so vibrant and buzzing with all the momentum we have.
Well, and you bring up a really interesting point, the focus on emerging technology. So traditionally in the St. Pete and even Tampa Bay region, we were very industry focused, right? Grow Smarter strategy back in 2008, I believe it was. Maybe that was beginning. I think it was published in 2014, was very industry focused. And even the Innovation District, we have been very industry focused. But I think the emerging technology angle is really compelling because these technologies go across industries. Can you say more? And the convergence idea.
That's exactly it. It is the convergence. And I say this a lot, and it's not meant to be cliche, but this is the most exciting time to be alive because of the convergence happening across these themes. AI is probably the one that we can all relate to as just regular people, seeing how it's improving our lives. But I think that's just it. So we want to leverage the great work that's been done historically in our region around maritime and defense tech. Obviously, that's so close to your work. And I think with Cathie Wood and ARK's involvement, we have the ability to elevate the visibility for this region and really attract companies to come here to showcase their innovation across these themes, whether it's autonomous watercraft or the eVTOLs, things like that. And also build from within. We've got partnerships with USF and the Institute of Applied Engineering and the High Tech Corridor to help students who are innovating at the university level continue to build here and be able to showcase their innovation in use. So I think we're looking at it from both sides, recruitment as well as organically build, and to continue all the great work that has been accomplished over decades here in the Tampa Bay region.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a really good point. It's often seen as 2 sides of a same coin, is this idea of recruitment and grow within. And sometimes I know growing up here, I didn't know what I didn't know until I got out of this market and got to be in other settings and see what was possible and what people were talking about. and then bring it back here. And I think that's the nice part of when we recruit a business in, having that business then raise the level or introduce new ideas to our homegrown kids and our youth and things like that.
I feel the same way, and I think it's that type of community, collaboration, connectivity that really pushes us forward in an authentic way. I really love St. Pete. I moved here 5 years ago. I never want to live anywhere else, quite honestly. I love it here, and I've been so fortunate to land here. And I think that we have such a great, Cathie uses the word vibe, such a great vibe. It's friendly, it's open, it's welcoming, and I want us to keep that vibe as we build more and innovate more and recruit more. And I think we are striking that balance because we have this great collaboration kind of ecosystem built out. And that's really important as we think forward because development is complicated, right? And some people don't like change. Some people really embrace it. But I think if we keep that community and that collaboration at the core, everybody will benefit.
And you, I know, though you're very intentional and focused on this building, the conversations you're having are beyond this building and trying to look at the region. You mentioned, with Cathie and her team's visibility, that brings a new attention to Tampa Bay. What do you see happening or could happen in the Tampa Bay region around innovation?
Yeah, I think that's just it. It is the region at large. And I think from where I sit, I am focused on the region as much as I am here in St. Pete and we're really supportive of everything happening here. Tampa and the region at large is really our focus. And quite frankly, the state of Florida. I think there are a lot of things we can do together across the state. But one of the projects that has been in the news of late is ARK Ellison Horace is bid on the gas plant district redevelopment, which is a really exciting opportunity to take around 100 acres and transform into a multi-use innovation-centric development for all residents and business owners and community members to really participate in. So I think something like that, which is still pending and we won't know the outcome until 2026, is an exciting opportunity for the region because we could potentially have that development serve as a catalyst to bring more innovation, to provide more affordable housing and quality of lifestyle improvements for everybody that comes here.
Yeah, and it's a great, when you think about the Innovation District, the district's western edge is adjacent to that site. And so we've always looked at it as an opportunity to expand uses that would happen within the district into that space, at least part of it. It's such a large space. It's going to have multiple uses and just uses upon uses. But that idea that innovation is a flavor that kind of permeates that. I've always said one of my biggest dreams was to have an autonomous shuttle that goes from that site into the Innovation District and back and forth. We had an AVA test years ago, and I was like, see, that's it. That's what I want to see because I think those kinds of whether it's mobility or urban design or even, how do we create a place where tech entrepreneurs want to come? How do we do all of those things layered together?
That's it. And I love that you use the mobility example because I would take it a step further and say, and then take your autonomous watercraft over to Tampa and have a meeting at TGH or Embark. And I think that's the connectivity that we as a region can really lean into because if you take city by city, we're small in terms of population, but together we're millions of people, at least on the Tampa Bay kind of St. Pete region. And I think that's where we can really do great things together in collaboration.
And you bring up a really good point when you mentioned, talking about TGH and the hospitals and things like that, because we have an epicenter, a little grouping here. I use the word hub, and it gets overused too much, but of health, life science, medical research with particular niches here in St. Pete. There's that grouping going over in downtown Tampa with a creation of a new innovation district there. And then you think about what's happening up in Pasco County where they're doing new clinical, but they're also doing new specialized manufacturing. And those three kind of network together, and I think we have an aspiration to network those better together in the new year, I think creates a positioning for the region and a clarity for us on who does what and what everybody's good at. And I think taking that on all the different levels of different types of technology or different situations and understanding it has been really helpful. There's been some work in the maritime space around that. We did some generic entrepreneurial support, mapping. So I think it's all important.
It is important. And just recently, I was in some discussions around the ag tech work and the investment that's being done on the University of Florida level in Hillsborough County, building out this ag tech center. of excellence. And so I think that's another industry that we in Florida, because agriculture is such a big part of our economy, we can lead and build the innovations within through university partnerships and also attract those companies. And guess what? We benefit as residents here and participants in the community when we advance those ag tech innovations.
Well, and that's a great one to point out because that's not one that generally we all think about. And so you're exactly right. I mean, Florida is one of the largest agricultural centers. I think it's changed over the years, maybe not oranges anymore, but certainly cattle and other strawberries. And there's lots of different layers to that. And the technology has gotten so just forward thinking around agriculture. And
we have a company here at Spark Labs that's actually innovating in soil analytics, and so enabling growers and farmers to optimize for nutrient density and health of the crops. And that benefits everybody. That benefits, I know that here locally in St. Pete, there's work being done on a natural food pharmacy using fruits and vegetables and the benefits of increasing fruits and vegetables in the population diet here. And so things like that are really exciting because it improves the quality of life for every member of the community here.
Yeah.
And it creates access as well, which is really important.
Right. And leveraging the limited land we might have, but in a higher optimized way, for sure. So you mentioned you came to St. Pete 5 years ago, and you're not leaving. What brought you here?
COVID.
Okay.
Yep. So I was living in New York City, and COVID was a tough time, of course, for everybody everywhere. And I've had family here for 25 years in St. Pete, and so decided to come down for what I thought was going to be 6 months to sort of wait out the pandemic, and never went back. Fell in love with St. Pete.
Decided that was it.
That was it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you think are the opportunities here that maybe you saw that were active in New York or things that are missing here? Because you mentioned your 3 C's, and I always love your 3 C's. I think that really connects everyone to what the mission is. But talk more about the gaps.
Yeah, so I did see some gaps here, and that's part of what our vision is at Spark Labs, to enable access to capital, which is critical for any business, customers, which also any business needs customers that are willing to pay for what that business is producing, and the community is what keeps a founder going when things get tough, because things will get tough. And so I saw, coming from a big market like New York, that those 3 elements exist in abundance. It is important to seek them out in authentic ways for each person in a big city like New York, because there's so much of those 3 that you sort of have to find your own path to get the right versions of those 3. And when I came here to St. Pete, I saw that there were pockets of communities, and there were certainly great capital partners, certainly great opportunities for a customer base. But I felt that there could be further work done on the connectivity of those 3. And that's what is so exciting about what Cathie and ARK Invest has put together in building Spark Labs, because those connection points are what we're enabling here in the ARK Innovation Center in the building and as part of the Innovation District.
Yeah.
And so that's what we've seen some great early success in the first 6 months of bringing the companies in. We have programming that's specific to supporting them in fundraising, if that's what they're doing, or getting their go-to-market product or service ready and identifying customer opportunities, and keeping this community strong and making sure that these founders know that they are supported, because it is a hard road. It's a bumpy road when you're founding a company, and there will be pitfalls and pivots required and all those things. And it's my belief as a founder, an operator, an advisor, that the community is what really will keep that founder charged along and pursuing the effort.
Well, and the good news is, I mean, you have such a great sort of vibe starting to go here in the building. And I say starting, it's really been going this summer. And so I think there's that peer, and then the connectivity to others in the community. And it's such a nice community. There is a lot of support out there. But I agree with you. I think we had things in pockets. People will always say we don't have a ton of capital. And I think there's more capital than they realize. But I do think that the capital is selective. And it's looking for those either specific styles of companies, types of returns that don't always match what our companies are offering. And so we had a really interesting sort of dialogue around the maritime space a couple months ago. And it became very apparent to me that the capital was looking for one thing and our entrepreneurs were set up to do something different. And so we were like, okay, this gives us a place to work and try to figure out how to either attract different type of capital or help our entrepreneurs think about their products and services differently.
I think that's exactly right, and consistent with an ongoing discussion that we have here. We do a weekly brainstorm with our members every Thursday afternoon, and this is a topic that we talk a lot about. And there's two camps, really. There's some who say there's plenty of capital here, you just have to know where to go to find it. There are others who say, no, I mean, it's so hard to find the capital, and it's better to go to other markets. I don't think it's so binary. I think it's sort of a little bit of a hybrid in between. I do think that to your point, there's a bit of education that needs to happen for the investor community here about why some of these investments in these technologies is so critical. And that's something that I think we can do also at Spark Labs, is to hold events where we're actually featuring some of these founders and talking about what an investment does at this level of this company. And I also think, though, that it does attract capital from other regions to come here. I've heard from several companies who've relocated to this area that this is a more attractive business climate for them as they build their businesses, and their investors actually really appreciate that.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
yeah. So I think just as we're kind of thinking about recruiting companies to come here, I think we can sort of have that same mentality with the capital and show to some of these other investors who may not know much about what's happening in this region, look at these great opportunities here.
Well, and you bring up, that's a really good point too, because I will say that some of the entrepreneurs or the maybe a little bit more mature companies we're working with are now getting enough visibility. They're attracting capital from other markets. And so they're bringing those folks in. And what we try to do is say, hey, by the way, look at all these other things. Sometimes that works with, the nature of the meeting they're here for, and sometimes it doesn't. But I do think that's where we become kind of pivotal in that conversation is, okay, we get that you're focused on this. Let's also introduce you to this. And it's same thing for our customers. You mentioned work with some of our defense partners. And I always find working with my government partners, they might know kind of what they're looking for, but having them be open to other possibilities, like an ag tech solution, which may never have been on the radar, but then when they dig into it, they're like, oh, wait, there's relevance.
Absolutely. And that's just that connectivity. And I think you and I are in these unique positions because we've got some broad perspective and we can sort of enable these purposeful collisions, as my colleague Brad likes to call them, which is a perfect description of what they are, is enabling purposeful collisions. Yeah, that's exactly it.
And connecting the dots, right?
Yes.
I feel like I just spend the day connecting dots. That's really all I do.
You're a master at it.
Well, let's go for a moment into some rapid fire questions. So you just mentioned CEO to CEO. I think we have some similarities in our backgrounds, but also some differences. And our wonderful kind of coordinator, Nasuka, put these together. So I'm going to take us through this. So you've lived in a lot of different places. So I lived in D.C. You were in London and New York, right? Before you coming here. So what did those places teach you that you brought back here with you?
Possibility. Mm-hmm. Anything is possible. That's the sort of mentality.
I agree. And I also think for me, too, the variety of perspectives. In D.C. especially, very international, very diverse, and learned a lot of different ways around the same question, which was interesting. So I would say, that we both have had some unique pressure moments. I worked a lot in defense. You on Shark Tank. Oh, my God. So what did that teach you about staying calm under pressure?
Preparation is key.
Yeah.
Right?
I watched a podcast you did with someone about the whole thing and the amount of prep you guys did.
Yeah. Preparation is so important. And I tell people this all the time, like you've got to have those 5 bullet points in your head. You don't know what they're going to ask you, but when you respond, weave them back to those 5 bullet points.
Oh, so brilliant.
It's a good little communication kind of hack.
Is that where you kind of came up with the 3 C's, or was that something separate? Because I always feel like you do such a good job of framing those 3 C's.
Oh, thank you. The 3 C's just seemed like the most important as what we're building here in Spark Labs, but I think it is important to have a message that will resonate with people, and that's a little bit taking a page from the Shark Tank prep was those tactics. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know when I worked in the Defense Department, for me, one of the lessons learned was it's not about you. So you get kind of stuck in that middle place sometimes, a lot of ups, like frustration or things kind of manifest and you're in the middle. And then also I think it was just a lot about kind of connecting to the person over the topic. I remember I was working on a project where a lot of high energy, it was actually an entrepreneurial venture that within the department needed to become more established. because there's some rules around if you start spending a whole bunch of money as an entrepreneurial venture, you need to then go into a program of record. And we spent the first half of a meeting just connecting around what that project was accomplishing. It was saving lives. But that seemed to help diffuse everything, and trying to figure out who is people, why are we doing this, what's the purpose. So what is one breakthrough you think St. Pete is poised to lead in the next decade?
I think it's mobility.
Oh, interesting.
I really do. We have this big body of water separating Tampa and St. Pete. Think that there are at least 3 modes of transportation across that water, and the automobile is just one of them.
Yeah, and that's the one we focus on right now, right? Well, the Cross Bay Ferry.
Well, that's true.
But who knows what the next one would be?
Who knows what the next one? But I think that's a great example of how we can showcase innovation to the world, frankly. And hopefully have eVTOLs, have autonomous watercraft, fast ferries, and cyber taxis and robo-taxis too.
I think you're exactly right. Like, I'm waiting for someone to do the Uber version of the boats because wouldn't that be great? I'm at my friend's house. We're at the dock. We want to jump on an Uber. We want to come to downtown St. Pete, but we're not going to do a car Uber. We're going to do a boat Uber. Somebody out there, do this.
Do this.
Please. And then I did Waymos when I was in San Francisco, and I love them. They were great.
Yeah.
So
I just got a Tesla, and I've been enjoying full self-driving. It's a game changer.
Now, do you find that it works in city and highway pretty
seamlessly? In fact, it's the best for highway and traffic on the highway, which is really frustrating sometimes. I've found it so there have only been a few instances where I've had to intervene, nothing major, but just for personal preference driving style. It's been fantastic. I actually look forward to getting in the car now.
I rode with a friend of mine on a Tesla autonomously from Jacksonville Beach once, and I found it just to be so, like, you could do different settings, distance to the next car, all these things, and I was like, this is awesome. This is really cool. Well, we're running out of time, if you can believe it. So is there any upcoming events people should watch out for?
Yes, we are planning an innovation showcase at the ARK Innovation Center. It will be early February, so folks could check out our social media and our website for the exact date. It'll be the 4th or the 11th, but it'll be an expanded version of what we did at our open house a couple weeks ago.
I love that.
Thank you. It was exciting. We had several of our founders give a very short pitch of what they're building, but this innovation showcase will be a longer opportunity for them to really explain what they're building and hopefully make connections with investors or prospective corporate partners and things like that.
And this will be focused on folks here in the building. So people really get to see what you've got going on in here, which is amazing.
That's right.
It's going to be some fantastic presentations. They got, how much time did they have at the open house? Or the
60 seconds.
I know. They were so good, though. But I'm looking forward to more deep diving.
Yes.
So you can hear a little bit more of the nuances.
Yes.
So definitely check out the website. What is the URL?
Oh, yeah. Great question. So with our rebrand, the new website is sp-ark-labs.com. So sparklabs.com.
I love it.
And our socials are Spark by ARK.
Oh, that's cute. I love it. Well, this is a couple of headlines for you from the Innovation District. The updated Tampa Bay Innovation Ecosystem Map is now available. You can get it on our website, stpeteinnovationdistrict.com, or reach out to us because we do have some great hard copy versions that we're happy to give you. Mark your calendars for State of Science and Innovation. We do it every January, and then followed by the St. Pete Science Festival in February. You can find out more details about these events and anything else about the Innovation District at stpeteinnovation.com. Thanks for tuning in and being part of St. Pete's incredible innovation story. Until next time.